So
I'm hearing saving lives, saving lives, saving lives, reducing accidents, all the things that are related to safety that we obviously want to hear that of reducing, saving lives, reducing accidents. Talk a little bit more though about regulatory compliance documentation. You gave an example on the fire extinguisher that was expired the next day, and there was being able to show the history of that the fire extinguishers are inspected every month, and here's the documentation for it. How important is it to be able to have a documentation within a three-dimensional model where there is this annotated history?
So first and foremost, I'm not with OSHA. I don't ever want to be, and don't pretend to be. And I did not stay at a Holiday Inn last night. So, but with that said, I think what's important with anything, is if I go scan a facility, if I'm using just a Matterport model and I scan, the facility, if I don't have the documentation to prove that I either knew that I did it correctly or noticed that there was a problem, just having a simple digital twin of a facility that's got, safety violations or has met everything, there's something to be said for, here's my report from January, February, March, and I can show you every infraction that I found, and it was fixed the following month. Here's everything that we did correctly, and I verified that we did it correctly, and I've got it documented, versus just saying, well, we scanned our building once a month and we all looked at it. Well, you looked at it, and that's where the birth of NSPECT really came. When you sat in a boardroom and you had that conference, as Stuart alluded to earlier, and said, this is great, but I can't take a Matterport model and put it in my pocket, or I can't go put it in a file cabinet. And if OSHA knocks on the door one day, or another, regulatory body, and says, show me that you knew that you were taking the right steps, I can say, look, there's a non-slip surface, Matt, right here. And I pointed it out. You don't point out everything that's wrong. Point out what you did that was right. Point out what you're doing across the board, show the good things and show the bad things, and then show the bad things corrective. That's what you need to be able to do. It's about documentation.
And what about reports and analytics?
Well, that's I'm referring to the report. You would print out.
Let me ask the question a little bit differently. Yeah. So I have a company with 147 locations in 36 states. And one of the things that we are using Matterport plus NSPECT for is related to fire extinguishers. Now, that said, fire extinguishers are only one line item of things that are regularly inspected. Can you generate a report? Can you use NSPECT to generate a report to say, all my locations, all fire extinguishers, and I want to know the status of any, they're all marked safe or inspected?
Yeah, you can go in and filter by fire extinguisher. You can pull the data. We've got, open access to that data where we dump it, either to your system, or if you want to pull it from us. But you're able to go in and show, here's when I scanned it. Here's when I actually checked it. Here's when I marked the, there's a difference between a scan date and a report date, right? You might have scanned last week versus reported this week. So we're going to know that, and we're going to be able to show that we're consistent. And that's one of the things, and I didn't know, I was about to bring this up, but I thought you might have been going there. But if I've got 147 locations and we're checking fire extinguishers, well, guess what? I can have the same two guys that know to the letter of how we want our compliance and consistency. I don't have, well, this guy kind of checks here, this kind of guy runs there. We do it. It's done by the same people, the same two guys. They print the same report out. They put it in the same folder. It's in the 3-ring binder. We're consistent on it. And that's what, these safety guys want. That's what they want to know, that we're not got 147 and we just didn't have time to get to that last one. And so we kind of just stamped it and moved on.
Dan, can I add one point to that?
Yes, please.
I think the other thing that's really important about this, and we may have skipped right over this, but imagine those 147 locations around fire extinguishers, and one of the guys in Seattle and the other guys in Chicago who are responsible. They can collaborate inside of NSPECT in real time, just like they're in the office together. right? And so it's not only about being able to push it out to other, third-party vendors and contractors and clients and, whoever else, but it's also the ability that they can work inside the same file and the same system across offices and be able to in real time have that asynchronous communication with it. So just want to make sure we kind of brought that up too.
Awesome.
Here's the last point I'll make with that, and this is, not to be a jab, but for the guys who are really worried in those, executive teams, when you've got your HS&E guys, how do you check your HS&E guy? You can take this and send it to someone else and say, here's our report. Here's everything that we found that we're doing good. Here's everything that's bad. Here's the things that we need to work on. Do you see anything that we missed? And we don't have to fly those guys in. They can review the whole report. They can mark up their own reported items and say, we need to do a little bit of training on your guy. He needs to know a little bit more about fall protection because he's missed a couple things.
Okay.